what would happen to your business if your main lead source disappeared overnight? Well, for many, the answer is panic. Just thinking about all that lost revenue and the amount of time that it would take to find a single solution to replace that lead source is just really stressful just thinking of it right now. Now, that's why having a backup plan is extremely crucial. So in this video, we're going to cover a little bit of how AI and automation can help you de-risk your business by diversifying your lead generation sources using those two things that I just mentioned in the beginning. If you're new to the channel, my name is Matt and I'm super passionate about creating AI solutions for businesses, especially on the sales and marketing side of things. And in this video, we're gonna cover what are lead sources, a case study, some of the potential solutions to solve this type of risk, and some implementation tips to start implementing these solutions today. So let's get started. Okay, so what are lead sources? Lead sources are essentially the channels that you use to attract leads to come to your business, or even to actually just reach out to them instead of attracting them to come over to you. So in this context, you could think about paid ads, SEO, social media content, and many different things. But to keep it a little bit simple, let's use the framework that Alex Hormozi actually uses in the book, $100 Million Leads, because that's a book I've been reading recently and I've been finding a lot of value from it. And let's look at this diagram over here on the screen. So with this framework, we can look at lead generation in terms of cold lead generation or warm lead generation, as well as one-to-one versus one-to-many. When it comes to cold lead generation and one-to-one, that's what we call cold outreach. This is you finding a list of people to reach out to with Apollo, or actually scraping the internet to find those leads and actually reaching out to them one-on-one. Now, if you are doing this type of process, this one-on-one process with people you already know, we would call that warm outreach, and it would be on the warm category. So this essentially means reaching out to your existing network and seeing if they know anyone or if they would be interested in the services that you're selling. For example, you could take all of your connections on LinkedIn and start messaging people one-on-one, asking them if they would be interested in purchasing your services. That would be warm outreach. Now, on the other hand, you can do the same process with the one-to-many to a warm audience, and that would be content or organic content. Now, content can actually serve both purposes. It can reach a cold audience or a warm audience, but the people that come back to watch it again, they would be considered a warm audience in this scenario. Now, even by looking at these categories, these are very broad categories. So even within content, we can subcategorize content between organic SEO content or social media content, for example, which brings me to the case study that we're going to be looking at today. So last week I was talking to a business owner who is in the e-commerce space, and essentially this person was only reliant on SEO content to bring in new leads. They said that over 90% of the leads that they got or the sales that they got were coming from SEO organic content. And now for you guys who are not familiar, I'm assuming that everybody is familiar with SEO at this point. SEO stands for search engine optimization, and it's essentially when you create content to your website so you rank better on Google. So for example, people might be searching for a phone case and then they found that person's website and clicked on that person's website and bought the phone case through there. Now, if you use this example, the first website that's probably going to come up, it's either going to be Amazon or Apple. So don't use that as an example. It was a lot more niche than that, but that's just a little bit of an idea for you to understand. Now, the point being of that case is that that person relied over 90% of their sales in a single channel. So now not only they're relying in a single quadrant, but they're relying on a subsector of that single channel. They were only relying on that SEO content. Now, I told them that they could use many different other ways to start getting people interested. One of them being paid ads, another of them being cold or warm outreach, but they were actually interested in creating content on social media. Now, this was a really good idea because creating content on social media would decrease the risk that they had on solely relying on search engine optimization. Because if tomorrow Google decides to change the way they rank websites, that person, if they were affected, they could lose their entire portfolio and all of their sales that they were getting across websites. Now, if they were using both SEO and organic content, for example, on TikTok or Instagram to get people coming in, let's say 60% from SEO and 40% from social media, if SEO completely changed overnight, which is unrealistic, but let's assume the worst scenario possible here, they would still have 40% of the revenue coming in. And maybe 40% could cover at least some variable expenses and keep the lights on in the business. So it's always good to have multiple lead sources coming in at the same time. So when we're thinking about risks, a good analogy to take advantage of is investing, for example. You wouldn't want to take all of your life savings and put them in a single stock. And obviously, that is very risky. If that company has a bad quarter or a bad year and the stock plummets, you're losing a lot of money, or you're really vulnerable to those fluctuations of the market. Now, that's why most of the advice around financial literacy and becoming financially independent goes around investing in index funds, for example, or in different ways that you can have multiple eggs in multiple baskets. Now, take this analogy as you will, but it does make sense to not put all of your life savings in one single stock. Now, if you want to do that, I'm not a financial analyst, so you feel free to do whatever you want with your money, but a prudent business owner would definitely consider different options. So what's the solution? Well, diversify your lead sources. If you want to start thinking about the other ways that you can start getting leads, first start thinking about those main 4 quadrants that I mentioned. Let's say that you are just like the other business owner, that you rely on 90% or over 90% of your leads coming in from organic content, regardless of if that is on Instagram, TikTok, SEO type of content, or whatever it might be. Let's just say that you're stuck in that quadrant for right now. What you could start doing, for example, to start running cold outreach campaigns is to use a platform like Instantly, for example. Instantly is an email outreach tool that has some really cool features around personalization. Now, this tool is actually really well known within the industry of people that look into AI, but there are other tools you can definitely explore. But take a look at Instantly, for example, and see how you can personalize your messages to send cold outreach messages to other businesses. This would be a very simple way, and actually not an expensive way at all, to send thousands of messages a month and start getting conversations booked or even sales right away from people that you didn't know prior. And that would start diversifying your business from only relying on content to relying on cold outreach. Now, let's say you have both of them and you want to start using warm outreach. One platform that you might consider is Dripify. Dripify is a LinkedIn automation platform, and it would work both in a scenario of warm outreach and cold outreach. So for example, let's say that you already have over 500 connections on LinkedIn. You can use Dripify to engage with those people and actually message them periodically to start conversations with them. You can even engage with their profiles by liking and commenting their posts, and even messaging people individually. Now, this tool can be used both for warm and cold outreach, as I said, but this is a really good way, and a cheap way as well, for you to start building that portfolio of lead sources. And last but not least, we can look at paid ads as well, and that one-to-many category for cold outreach. Now, paid ads already get you a lot of viewership really quickly if you're running, for example, a meta ad. Now, one way that you could start using AI for paid ads, for example, would be to use the Advantage Plus targeting or the Advantage Plus placements in Meta that rely on their information that they already have in machine learning software to place your ads better, or to show your ads to the people that they think are going to engage more. Now, that tool has been available for the longest time, so here's a different thing that you can do while setting up Facebook ads. If you are running Facebook ads that open up a lead source, for example, you can run an automation that finds that person's information and researches more about their company when they fill out a form in your website. Now, another way that you can use AI that's very similar to ChatGPT with your Facebook ads is to set up, for example, a voice flow chatbot and integrate that voice flow chatbot into your Facebook messaging. So if your ad is leading to someone to shoot you a message on Facebook, that voice flow chatbot can start qualifying that lead for you and initiate the conversation for you. So there are dozens of ways to use AI and automation to do these types of outreach. So instead of me just laying all of them out here for you, I'm going to put them all in a document that you can access completely for free by clicking on one of the links down below. So just take a look at the description and grab your document right now. Now let's talk a little bit about some implementation tips. And these 3 tips, or these 3 steps, actually come from a Harvard Business School article that I read a couple of weeks ago that outline how you can start using AI in your business in a way that's not risky at all. So step number 1 would be to pick one of the 4 main categories and choose an isolated small project that you can start working on it today. The second step of this is to pitch to your department head, and only pitch it to your department head. Tell them that it's not going to cost much, because it generally won't in the beginning, and show them what could be. Now, this is really good because if you keep these interests politically aligned, and you have a lot more chance of getting a successful project done and pitching to the other departments as well within the company. Step number 3, which is the most complicated step, is actually to fulfill the project. Now, fulfilling the project and building everything out is really complicated if you don't have the base set up. So if you want to work with someone who has built these kind of systems before, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm going to leave a booking meeting down in the description below that you can book a call with me and we can see if we can work together. Now, once that project is complete, it will be really, really clear what the return on investment was on that project. Now, the only thing that you need to do is to show to the higher ups and suggest a fund for investment into AI and automation. Now, I truly believe that AI and automation are really going to transform the way we see business, especially on the sales and marketing side of things in the next decade. So this is a very simple 3-step process way that you can get your first small isolated project done and prove to your higher ups that it can actually be done. So take that into consideration and let's move on to the next topic. Now you might be wondering, isn't it expensive to start diversifying your lead sources? And the true answer is no, not really. If you're running small and contained projects, you shouldn't be spending too much money on it. A good example is to show make.com, which I actually have open on my phone right now, and make.com is free. It's free for up to 1,000 operations per month. And if you go over 1,000 operations per month, your price goes up to $10 per month. This is really cheap to set up. Now, you would need to learn a little bit of the basics of make.com to start building your automations. But if you wanted to go with a different platform like Instantly, for example, that I mentioned a little bit earlier, this is their baseline price. It's $30 a month. You would be spending $30 a month to send up to 5,000 emails, and that would give you a good chunk of data to start analyzing the potential for the return that you're looking for. Now, let's say you do want to send more. You want to send your test project, you want to send 100,000 emails a month. It would be $77. Like I said, it's actually much cheaper than we think it is. And another key question that you might be thinking about is, how do I actually prioritize which one channel I should focus on? And I would recommend thinking about your target audience, and hopefully you have a persona worksheet with you. But if you don't, just really think about the person that you're selling to and think what channel would be the most complementary for them. So maybe your target audience is super busy and doing content won't actually reach them because they're busy all the time, and giving them a phone call would be a lot easier, or shooting them an email directly to their email inbox would be a lot easier. Who knows? You tell me what your target audience would prefer. So hopefully you got a lot of value from this video, and now that you have some ideas on how to start implementing these different outreach processes into your business, maybe cold outreach is one of the things that you are considering. So if you are selling to local businesses and you want to do cold outreach, I would recommend you go watch this video. That is essentially a video teaching you how to scrape Google My Business to start reaching out to business owners locally to offer them your services essentially. And that's it. That's all that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.